Since the new Mandalorian and Grogu movie is releasing sometime next year, today I'm talking about every single Mandalorian item in my collection. And I won't be including regular Mandalorians, only, of course, Din Djarin. And I have a lot to get into this video, but before I do that, I'll start with my honorable mention, which is the UCS Razor Crest. Of course, I don't have this set, and it's rumored that the figure in it will release in a smaller set on January 1st of 2026. So I will wait to see in January if the figure actually will release in that set. But sadly, it does retire this year, but I'm hoping to get my hands on it pretty soon. And to cap off my honorable mentions, this is my only non-Star Wars part of my Mandalorian collection, which is the limited edition Star Wars Coca-Cola, which I can put on my Mandalorian coasters, and it matches perfectly. This is definitely one of the top ones, and I believe the first Coke that I got from the limited edition Star Wars collection. The first set, which is on display currently, is the UCS Razor Crest, which all comes with these minifigures, which I do have a couple of the Mandalorians that you will see later in the video. And this was, I believe, my first Mandalorian set, and it looks amazing. I did do a review on it, I believe, like a year ago on my birthday, but now I'll be doing it again, probably later next year, at least for the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. So I won't do a full review, but I will show some of the features, like some of Din Djarin's bounties frozen in carbonite there, and even Din Djarin's sleeping quarters, which are on the side of the ship, which you can simply do by lowering this turret here, which of course there are the same thing on the other side, but I believe it holds some ammunition. And one of my favorite features is the escape pod. You just reach in there and pop it out. You can use it mainly for the scout trooper there, but you can just pop out the lid and you can fit a minifigure pretty nicely in there. That's probably my favorite feature. Overall, I like the set, but still I would rather have the full scale UCS version, because it is mainly a play scale version, less for display. I also have the ATST Raider, which of course comes with these minifigures on my display, and it looks really, really nice. I'll actually take it down to get a closer look on it. The minifigures are nothing special, but I still think this is a really cool set, and my only ATST. You can have this knob on the back, which rotates the head, not a full 360, I believe like 180, so it does work pretty nice, and I believe it's the main outline for most of the ATST builds like I was made. And you can fully lift up the cockpit, fit a minifigure in there. You can also just open the cockpit here, which I think looks a lot better. And of course these plates here are adjustable, as well as all these turrets on the front and back, and the feet are also really nice. I think this is a better set for display because it doesn't really have too many features on it, but still I really like this set and a really cool part of my collection. To showcase all of my minifigures, I will be showing it on this, which is the Dark Trooper Chase or Escape, I believe from 2022, which I do have rebuilt, which has been in my storage for a very long time, and I'm actually seeing it is a really cool set. But I'll actually show a full showcase of all like the features and everything and all the minifigures a little bit later when I go into the set portion of this video. But again, before that, I will show what I showed at the beginning of the video, including my first Mandalorian, which will lead us into many more, and of course one Grogu there, so we can keep a counter on the side of how many Mandalorians and Grogus. I did have two Mandalorians, one from the AT-ST Raider and one from the Razor Crest, so this will make it the third and the second Grogu. And of course it comes with the speeder bike, which I'll talk about what set he comes in later. So the most Mandalorians that I have, or at least most versions, are the normal versions of the Beskar, which is, I guess, the newer updated one from Season 2 here. You can get a good look on him with his beautiful arm printing, and of course you went through multiple different variations, different weapons, capes, and jetpacks, and a bunch of stuff like that. And I also have another one to cap off all of my Din Djarin specific Mandalorians, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Mandalorians, only 2 of them being a non-Beskar one. So this is probably the coolest part of my collection, how many Mandalorians I have. And of course we can't forget about the third Grogu, I believe, which is really nice. I know he comes in some other sets without the Mandalorian. I believe he came in the Bark Speeder Escape with Killer and Beck, which I still don't have, and I believe is retiring this year, so I might try to pick it up before it retires. But now I'll get into some of the figures that we see in the actual set that I'm using to showcase it. Exactly 3 of these, which are some of my favorite figures from the Mandalorian. these dark troopers here, which I'm go really close to examine it all. Sadly, they don't have any arm printing, but they still have some really nice leg printing. They even use a cool face, which instead of just completely red, they actually added some detail of a face print underneath it, as well as a cool blaster and a shoulder piece here. So I do have 3 of these that came in the set. Sadly, I only have 1 of these like hallway escapes. And then you could also technically count Luke Skywalker as part of the same Mandalorian line. So to fully get into the bulk of all the minifigures that I have, I'll start with some pretty boring ones going to a little bit more exciting. So first, I do have a singular Tusken Raider that released in the Tusken Raider like Outpost set. And also was the same set with the speeder bike, which I will show fully with the minifigures beside it in the second portion. Nothing really special about him. He does come in some other sets, but I do think the head mold was nicely done. And the Mandalorian's N1 Starfighter brought us Pili Moto, which is basically the Mandalorian's mechanic. She is pretty nice. The main reason which I don't really like this figure is because, of course, it's a basic figure. But one thing I always just like look at and immediately think of when I see this figure is that there's 2 belts. So there's one physical one and then one printed on, which is really weird. I mean, I'm very glad that they added like a physical one, but then why did they print it on the torso? I think that's very weird, but not really disappointed because it is a normal figure and nothing really too special. And of course, she comes with a second face print, which I actually really like the face print as well as the hair mold. They definitely did good with that. The only thing that I really don't like is, again, the double belts. It looks very weird. Next is the Snub Fighter version of Cobb Vanth here, which I believe is exclusively released in that set. And here he is. He definitely deserves a couple upgrades, like some shoulder pads, a cloth cape, or a coat or something, because he's definitely pretty boring and basic. And one of the faults that I see is some of the color misprints are not the most accurate to his skin tone and stuff. But I mean, I don't mind it that much. It is a pretty cool figure to come with it, but definitely, again, deserves some upgrades. But pretty nice printing, but still, I think it deserved a little bit more than what he actually got. Since we're talking about the Snub Fighter, I also, of course, have the Snub Fighter Pilot with some really cool, like, honeycomb, almost like printing here, which, again, I can't really get over the honey printing. It looks like a honeycomb with the yellow as well. But I still think it is a pretty cool way to get another of Cobb Vanth's species, which is pretty cool to use for a couple customs, I guess. I mean, it is a pretty cheap set. I believe it originally retailed for $30. It only came with 2 figures. I definitely would have preferred like a Mandalorian or like some other Mandalorian warrior, or of course Din Djarin himself, but still really cool figure, I guess, to get in it. Just sort of a filler figure that you needed for the set. I also have 2 of these Super Commandos here, which I really like. They are released in a battle pack, which I believe is retiring this year, and I'll talk about the other figures that come in it as well. We do get 2 of these, which come with some pretty cool jetpacks, which is very nice, as well as some really nice printing. Overall, I really like the head mold. That's probably my favorite part of the figure, and for some reason they come without a face, which is really weird because LEGO usually does add a face for some of the stormtroopers, and I don't think they did it for Mandalorians, which I can understand that because of course they can't really show their face. It's kind of the point of being a Mandalorian. That's one of their I guess part of their cult, so I'd understand it for that, but not really so much for these commandos. I guess it's a way to cheap them out, but still, I don't really mind it. That's only a fault that I would see in the figure. And again, 2 of those Super Commandos are released in that set. But as far as the other Mandalorians go, we do get a Mandalorian warrior, which I guess is part of the boy version of them, because you can actually tell which gender it is by the shape of their helmet. So you do get a loyalist as well as a warrior in it, which is pretty cool. They do have some different armor types there, and it's nothing I wouldn't expect. I definitely think they deserve arm printing, but it is a $20 set. It's just really cool to see him on the Mandalorian, which I really love for the figures, and I think they should also be included on the Mandalorian loyalists and warriors. And they also come with two of the blasters, as well as the normal jetpack. Pretty normal, again, with no actual face underneath. And to just zoom by both of these minifigures releasing in the Armor's Forge, we have Paz Vizsla here, which is a older version of him. I know a newer version in the Moff Gideon versus Paz Vizsla set released, but only thing I really changed about it was the blaster type. I know he has the older one in the older set, which I still have, but I decided I would upgrade it. I believe the only difference is like the helmet, but this figure is pretty nice and comes with the same sort of piece as the Dark Troopers, but it is a different solid color as well as having different printing. And of course, we also get the armor there, which nothing really special for printing or anything. And of course, both of the faces are black underneath. And finally, Bo-Katan, which looks very, very nice with her head printing as well as her hair, which I'm not sure if I really like or if that's accurate, at least for the character, but still nothing really too wrong with this. I believe she did release in the large scale of her actual like Mandalorian starship, as well as in the Fang fighter versus a TIE fighter or TIE interceptor more specifically. But again, really nice figure, but I feel like all the Mandalorians deserve arm printing because you can make really, really good arm printing, again, shown by the Din Djarin figure. Now moving on to the set category, which I do have a couple honorable mentions. The first one being, of course, I do have the Armor's Forge here, which you can see all the pieces are included in here, but I could not for the life of me actually find the instructions and able to actually like rebuild all this, but you can see some of the pieces in there. So I'll try to find the instructions and rebuild this because this would be a really cool set to review for the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. And also another honorable mention here, which technically isn't really a set, but it is part of a set, which is this N1 Starfighter from the 2023 calendar here, which I think is actually in a very nice detail. I do have the full-scale N1 Starfighter, which I will show again very, very soon. And honestly, really, really cool micro build. I mean, I'm not like too big of a fan of some of the micro builds we get in it, but actually, funny enough, I did get a duplicate of the Mandalorian Starfighter, so I did keep this one sealed. Honestly, I'm not going to sell it or anything. It's just a couple of pieces, but I think it's cool to have it sealed. And I believe I was just originally supposed to have the Ewok glider, but apparently I got another one of this, so it took a while to order it. I believe it was like very, very, very old. I think it was one of my first videos on my channel. But that wraps up the honorable mentions for the actual sets of The Mandalorian. I'll start with the Snub Fighter, which I have gone over the minifigs already, and I actually really love this set. It is a little bit overpriced, but I definitely enjoyed this build out of every single one of the best builds, at least out of every set that I've built, and it honestly looks amazing and so accurate. Again, I'm very happy to have this. It's actually a pretty decent build for $30. I know it is a little bit overpriced back in, I believe, whenever Season 3. I know it's based off Season 3, so it probably came out a little bit before or after Season 3, but overall, this is a really nice set. The only feature basically is the back can be lifted up and you can fit a blaster in the container, and it also has some stickers, and of course the windshield piece you can lift up and close. But definitely a really cool build, probably my favorite actual building process of one of the Mandalorian sets. Next is the Trouble on Tatooine, I believe is what the set was called, and it comes with a pretty small and honestly not really that cool little hut for the Tusken Raider, which I wish would be a lot bigger. And I mean, I believe it retails for about $20, the actual set, so it's not really a quick and easy set you can buy multiple of, but if you buy at least 2 of them, you can actually complete out a full hut and even recreate the scene with, of course, Anakin slaughtering all the Tusken Raiders, not just the men, but the women and the children too. I do have the Anakin figure here, so if I want to do a little bit of a role play, I could. Didn't release for episode 2 though, so technically it's after episode 6 here. It also comes with a speeder bike here, which I use for a lot of my builds. It actually looks very, very nice. Again, we're rumored to get a speeder bike, like a $10 speeder bike set with the Razor Crest Mandalorian, so hopefully it's not an exact copy of this with the actual Razor Crest Mandalorian. Maybe slightly improved, but not that much. And it also comes with this really cool like turret to battle the Crate Dragon, but it would have been way cooler if we got like a buildable Crate Dragon. That would have been really cool, made for like $100, and we got like this small build as well as a giant Crate Dragon. That would look way better than whatever this is. I also have the Mandalorian and Grogu Brickhead, which is pretty straightforward. It comes with the Brickhead version of the Mandalorian, which I actually really like. Probably, again, we'll be reviewing most of my Mandalorian sets for the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. We also come with Grogu here, which you can lift out of his pram, which is built very nicely. I believe the set retailed for like $20 because it was two, I guess, $10 Brickheads, and this is actually a really nice set. I mean, this is what I would expect from a Brickhead. Again, very nice set. Very happy I got it. And finally, the N1 Starfighter here, which comes with two cockpits. One for, I'm assumably, Grogu, and one, of course, for the Mandalorian. But you can also fit this BD droid, which is a really nice way to get BD1. I guess, technically, he is not BD1. LEGO has made a version of BD1 in the giant buildable figure, which is not currently retail. I think it's pretty expensive. It was the only set released for the Jedi games. But I do have the Star Destroyer, which means I do have Cal Kestis, which I can grab here and show him with the BD droid, which again would be red and not blue. So that's the main weird thing that they put in it. I mean, I guess it's kind of weird that they included this BD droid, which you don't really get to see a lot. It's cool that we get him, but it's kind of random at the best. But it actually looks pretty cool. He can fit on the 25th anniversary display pack. Overall, this is honestly the only reason I got this set. I definitely would expect more and would prefer a better shiny, I guess, chrome version, or maybe just a better detailed one of this. I mean, I really like the ship in the show, so that's definitely not the problem. It's just the overall build I feel like could definitely use some kind of upgrade. But that is going to do it for today's video. Make sure to comment down below what was your favorite set or minifigure released from the Mandalorian. I'm very excited to see the movie next year. Hopefully it's a little bit better than season 3 was, but that's going to do it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Have an amazing rest of your day, and see you all in the next one.